Have you ever watched a show that manages to stick in your head for a long, long time? A show where every new episode made you more fascinated? A show that was revolutionary for the time? Well, the show that fits this description, for me at least, was Primeval.
When I read the script, it was one of those things that I thought I would really, really like to do this.
I was very excited when I got the script, but just never thought that it would happen.
I think we had a lot of fun, and it is possibly, for me, the best part of the whole thing.
Primeval was a British science fiction series created by Tim Haynes and Adrian Hodges. It was produced for the British TV production company ITV, but it was first supposed to be produced by the BBC. See, Tim Haynes had gotten the idea for the show while creating the well-known documentary Walking with Dinosaurs, which used revolutionary VFX to make the creatures appear real. To quote Tim, "I came up with the idea after working on the Walking with Dinosaurs for the BBC. It, Primeval, was a BBC project. Fortunately, I was introduced to Adrian Hodges, who wrote the script. BBC turned it down because they went for Doctor Who instead, so we took it to ITV. But what was Primeval exactly? Let me tell you first by explaining what the television is. Wait, no, I'm joking, don't leave! Okay, but for real, let me bring you into the plot of Primeval by explaining episode 1, which graced British television screens on the 10th of February 2007. The episode begins on an empty street. Shopping carts roll by themselves. It's quiet, too quiet, until we hear a growling and we see it. We later see a woman, disheveled, running and jumping into a barrel. We can hear the creature, and then it pounces. Then it cuts to this guy who's cleaning the floor and probably listening to some fucking shitty 2007 music.
How to know if you're a Sigma.
The woman starts to hit the glass, trying to get his guy's attention, but he can't hear anything. The woman is running faster and faster, hiding in between of cars, but the creature is in hot pursuit, throwing cars and snarling, and an explosion happens with such realistic effects. The creature is right behind her, but she manages to escape to the forest. I can't imagine how this felt in 2007 seeing something like this on television, and the creature effects still hold up. That's pretty good. After this cold open, we time skip to 8 years later, where we see the main character, Nick Cutter, played by Douglas Henschel. Dougie was always looking for something new, says Hodges on finding their Nick Cutter and Scottish actor Douglas Henschel. He was a good man, Dougie. It took some convincing, but he went all in. And that guy over there is Stephen Hart, played by James Murray, and they are arriving at the Central Metropolitan University, where Nick is a professor at. And then the best fucking character in the show appears, Connor Temple, played by Andrew Lee Potts. Connor is following Nick and trying to get his attention, which Nick doesn't care about. But once he finally catches up to him, Nick thinks he's meant to go to the archaeology class. But he's actually a student of Nick.
Why don't I recognise it? You've never actually turned up for the seminars.
Yeah, Nick, how the hell are you still working here if you never appeared at a damn seminar? Let me just say, his office looks great. Peak. And then we notice something. He has the same image of that woman from the beginning. Connor gives him a dissertation that he immediately throws away, but he picks it back up from the bin. Connor says it's about how all life from Earth came here because of aliens. And just to show off, Nick shows him a fossil of a fish. Oh wait, I'm sorry, it's a
sarcopterygian.
Yeah, I'm gonna mispronounce a lot of words here in this video. And he poses a question. See, this creature did not appear in any fossil record for 70 million years. But then out of nowhere, it just appeared in the middle of the Indian Ocean. And that is not possible. A creature does not jump into existence. No, it has to evolve from something. And this is his motivation. He does not care about normal evolution like why giraffes have long neck. No, he is interested in animals that seem to appear out of nowhere. that somehow evolved without there being any evidence of a past relative. And then Connor's like, yeah, look at this. And it's an image of a monster, that being the same monster from the cold open. Now Cutter, being a man of science, he throws it to Steven because it cannot be real. Something that big can't just appear one day, but Connor is adamant that it exists. Yeah, Connor is your average conspiracy theorist. Nick is like, lol, not real, don't care. And then Connor's like, well, your wife would not have ignored it. The woman from the intro is actually Nick's wife, Helen Cutter. She was a serious scientist according to Nick and not some gullible monster hunter, but Connor convinces Steven and Nick to come and check it out because the location of the sighting is actually pretty close, and it won't take that long to disprove it. We then cut to a lizard. Oh, and the next character, Abby Maitland, played by Hannah Spirit, a zookeeper who is in the lizard exhibit because she has to force the lizards to mate, but they don't want to. Then the zoo manager arrives and he asks her how it's going with the two lizards, and she responds with,
Totally gay, but otherwise fine.
Primeval is woke. But the director comes to her with bad news. The reptile program is being slimmed down due to
budget cuts.
So she may have to be fired from the reptile exhibit, which she doesn't like. While the zoo director is following her to try and get her to maybe go to their bug house, he drops a folder with an image of a kid in it. He seems to be holding some kind of reptile. This is actually a letter from some kid who wants his animal to be shown off in the zoo, and Abby decides that she will check it out, and that boy is located in the Forest of Dean, the same place where Nick and the squad is also going. We cut back to the group, who are being brought to the location by a security officer who shows them a trailer with large claw marks. Steven brings up the point that it has to be a large predator, which, duh. But how would a large predator be in the Forest of Dean without anyone seeing it? But then Nick notices something. A gate that's been ripped apart as if something rammed through the gate. If it was a hoax, many people had to help out with it. Nick is still fascinated about the gate because, as Steven explains,
Helen Cutter came to this area 8 years ago to investigate a creature sighting. She disappeared in the forest, the body was never found.
We cut back to Abby, who visits Ben Trent, the kid, with a lizard. And he has a room that I wish I had, and then we see him. That's Rex, species flying dragons, also known as Draco volans. Slight issue, that is not how one looks like IRL. Not even Abby knows what species he is. Which means Ben found a new species. And how does he respond?
Cool.
You found a new fucking species and that's how you respond? Now they are back in the Forest of Dean, where they are trying to go back to where Ben found Rex. That is when they see something. An entire cow on a tree somehow. And a loud growl. So they run! Ben is trying to find an explanation, but there are no goddamn animals that can do that in Britain. Except maybe a burn meat.
I just woke up in a fucking...
So now Nick and his group go visit a hotel because they need to rest for a while. Where we meet someone new, who is getting hit on by some drunk dude. This is Claudia Brown. And she sees Nick and immediately kisses him. I mean, you can't blame her. Okay, I'm lying, she only did it because she told the drunk that Nick was her boyfriend. But plot twist! She already knows who Nick is. Claudia works for Home Office, some organization funded by the government that is also investigating this monster sighting. And they need his help because he is a scientist and she wants him to prove that it's all fake so people stop harassing their organization. But Nick is now on the fence. Not the broken one, but like a normal one. Since what if it is real? What if this monster actually exists? Anyway, he kind of flirts with her, who cares? She's now going to help Nick and his group with the search for this monster because she's bored. Now we go back to Connor, who has a database open with all non-extinct vertebrates which he has been working on ever since he was 14. Damn, he made this when he was 14? When I was 14 I was making diggities. Claudia gets introduced to everyone and Connor immediately gains fear that they will cover it all up, which they definitely will not do. I mean, the government never covers anything up. Anyways, Ben and Abby lose each other and she accidentally lets go of Rex and he starts to fly, which is very cool, but Ben finds something cooler. He gets closer to it and sees multiple Rexes flying around. It's a portal to another location. This is an anomaly, and anomalies might get more important as the series goes on. And then we hear something come closer and closer, and we see it's the monster. Let me give props to the VFX team. I like that they did the shot with a reflection. That's pretty cool of them. We go back to the group where we learn more about Steven, who is an expert with animals. And then they also find the cow in the tree, and their compass starts to go haywire. And now we get back to Ben, who arrives at his mom's house where he hides in his room, where he finds out he cut himself. And if there's one thing you should know, never bleed while a predator is following you. And this scene haunted me as a little kid, and yeah, let me just play it. This scene, I just love it a lot. I remember as a kid, I was scared that fucking creature will come and kill me, bro. We go back to Abby, who's running through the forest with Rex until she hears something and sees an actual dinosaur, a real living dinosaur. And not just that, Nick Cutter and the group is also there, and he's confused because that is a living dinosaur. Abby introduces herself and Nick starts to identify it, and Claudia is immediately like, yep, we gotta contact the government. Claudia contacts Home Office and Nick is in Ben's room, where his mom is pissed at Abby for giving him stupid ideas like that a dinosaur attacked him. But his mom doesn't believe him, and Abby can't say shit because she would sound crazy. Claudia then tells them, oop, well, you guys now have to sign the Official Secrets Act because government conspiracy. Now Claudia thinks that the dinosaur they saw was the one who killed that cow, but it's a herbivore. Then the dinosaurs start to run and the group gives chase and it leads them to the portal which Ben saw. The government then sanctions the side of the forest. And we learn one more information about the portal. They have a large magnetic field. And hey, Home Office is taking Rex! That's our marketable character, bring him back! Seeing the portal gives Nick time to reflect and think about what if Helen went inside one of these portals. But Steven is like, ayo, well why did she not come back? Which I mean, what if eaten by dinosaur? I mean, dinosaur go chomp, she dead. We now arrive at Home Office where we meet him, James Lester, administrator of Home Office, and he's a bit stuck up thinking that the group are just civilians and that they maybe caused these portal opens, but I think he's stupid. Connor and Steven are in the Forest of Dean looking for the creature while Nick is at Home Office, where he is discussing a theory he has about what these portals are with James.
Theory. The boy's experience proves that there's a concrete landscape on the other side of the anomaly. And I think it's the Earth, many millions of years ago.
And this anomaly, as you call it, is a door between time zones in the world's history? Suppose this remarkable theory is correct. What are the immediate risks?
Famine, war, pestilence, the end of the world as we know it, the usual stuff.
I think I could do without the facetiousness.
Well, I could do without standing in some anemic office in Whitehall talking to a civil service pen pusher when I should be exploring the most significant phenomenon in the history of science.
Technically, I'm not actually a civil servant. More a troubleshooter without portfolio in the PM's office.
You mean you're a government hatcher, man?
Colourful, but surprisingly accurate.
So basically, what if the anomalies are rifts between time and space? While in the Forest of Dean, a romantic subplot gets planned between Connor and Abby where he thinks Abby likes him. Aww. While at Home Office, the scientists there are trying to figure out more things about Rex and Abby's like, hey wait, they do know he can fly, right? Which makes James and Claudia turn to her and be like, what? And then Rex just flies away. Claudia and Abby try to catch him and he's just flying everywhere around and then decides to go into an elevator for some reason. After this chase, Rex almost flies out of a window into the London streets where he would have been probably stabbed to death. But Abby brings him back. Oh my god, he's flying away. Oh, he's back. And in this shot, it is actually an animatronic Rex. Listen, if anyone finds this animatronic, give him to me. I swear, I will give him a good home. Please give it. Also, Rex shot on James. After a while, Steven finds a footprint of the monster, and we cut back to home. I swear to God, who decided the pacing? Let me just rush through it. Yes, Rex is ancient. Nick is allowed to go to the anomaly, and he's going to bring Rex back to the past. Let's go back to the important plot, not like that thing over there. Connor thinks he found a species of the monster, the Gorgonopsid, a saber-toothed Therapsida, which is basically a mammal, and it is terrifying. So Connor is like, yeah, Steven, you should look for an enemy. So off Steven goes to prove that he is a Giga Chad. And then we find Ben in a classroom alone with a teacher, and oh boy, there he is, and he immediately sees the school. While Ben is sitting in detention, he fucking sees the Gorgonopsid and the teacher does not notice. He tells her to look, but the Gorgonopsid is already like away. And then the Gorgonopsid somehow already comes inside. Bro, how much beef does this animal have with this fucking kid? This scene is a bit terrifying. And no matter what Ben says, the teacher is like, bro, chill, sit down, bro. And their arguing just tells the Gorgonopsid their location, so now it's moving faster. And now the teacher believes him, but she still doesn't listen to him. And now Ben is basically screwed. The Gorgonopsid is breaking in, and before it can deal the final blow, the man, the myth, the legend, Steven arrives. This scene actually shows that the Gorgonopsid is not that big, more like bear-sized. Oh yeah, and then Steven dies. We cut back to the group who were at the anomaly where Nick gets some security help for when he goes in. And so, he walks in. And he sees the beauty of Earth from millions of years ago. But on the outside, Connor notices something. His metal pen is not getting dragged in. The anomaly is getting weaker. And who knows what that will do. And Nick walks alone to admire this moment. And then he starts to call for Helen. Yeah man, it's been 8 years. I don't think that's gonna work. And then he gets called back by the soldier who found a box filled with food. Which means they aren't the first ones to enter an anomaly. And they also find remains of a human, but humans did not exist at this time. And there is also a camera with the initials HC. That's right, Helen Cutter died here. Just kidding, that's a man skeleton. Nick does not want to leave because he wants to find her, but the soldier is like, yeah, no, fuck that. And then pistol whips him and literally brings him back to the anomaly. But Nick decides to do payback and beats him up. And then he gets punched in the face. But the anomaly starts to disappear and Nick still wants to stay there. But after a while he decides to go with the soldier because what are the chances the anomaly will return? He comes back to the forest and Rex also comes back because marketing! And everyone is happy and go lucky because this is such a scientific... Wait, what about the Gorgonopsid? The Gorgonopsid starts to attack everyone. Claudia falls down and it almost kills her. But then Steven comes back and he fucking rams it with a fucking pickup truck. And now it's dead. Okay, so maybe I Jesus Christ, Steven. You just made a species extinct. How do you feel right now? How do you feel? We cut back to home office, where they show Nick the photos that the camera took, which were developed. Helen Cutter was in an anomaly. James is like, well, that's over. You guys can go. But Nick starts to go into another theory. Another game theory.
Force out there. Rip the boundaries of space and time to shreds. Maybe it's happened before, in which case every single thing we thought we knew about the universe is wrong. Or this is the first time, in which case, what changed? What happens next? Believe me, it's very, very far from over.
Nick is back at his office where he is just sitting and thinking of Helen. And then something moves. He then sees something coming out of a shell, and then he hears something, and he quickly runs outside where he sees her. But she's gone again. But this proves to her that she's alive and is somewhere. And that was the end of episode 1, and people, when they saw this, they gave it raving reviews. Thankfully, wait, this part was 16 minutes? This episode begins in the London Underground, where a woman tries to cool off by opening a window, but something is there. We cut to Connor with a couple of his mates at the university, where he is telling them about the home office and the anomalies. Do they believe him? No, of course not.
I swear on my Empire Strikes Back first edition poster signed by Luke Skywalker and Dave Prowse.
Ooh, careful, that's invoking a sacred relic.
Yeah, like the Bible.
Who wrote these characters? Why are they so stereotypical nerds? Nick and Steven are in Nick's office where they are looking for any evidence that Helen wrote about the anomalies, but they can't seem to find anything. Meanwhile, Abby now owns Rex because why not? Well, anyways, Connor arrives at her apartment because he thinks he found an anomaly, and while explaining this, he hears the iconic chirp of Rex.
Rex?
He came back.
Kidnapping helpless lizards?
We cut to the tube where a cleaner hears a strange sound and a rat gets killed. And James is still a cunt.
Keep her away from the papers and the boy will be no problem. Thank you.
Pity the monster didn't eat them both. That would have been the neatest solution.
Claudia arrives in Nick's office where she can see papers around the office, where he admits that he was meant to go with Helen, but he didn't because he did not believe her. Connor and Abby, meanwhile, are looking for the anomaly, and Connor does not know how to flirt.
We should huddle together for warmth.
Abby then pulls a friend zone and asks him, is Steven seeing anyone? And he has one of the funniest responses.
Actually, I've never seen him with a woman. You might not like him. Could be gay.
Plot twist, Steven is gay. That's a lie, I am lying. And then Steven arrives at Nick's office and is like, yo, Abby told me Connor thinks he found an anomaly. So off they go to visit Connor. During the night, something moves around in the forest and Connor gets surprised by a dinosaur! Wait, that doesn't look real. Yeah, his friends tricked him. But then the police arrive, so they run away. But then also, Nick arrives with the rest of his group. And Nick decides to throw Connor out of the home office team, which is a shame. But meanwhile, Nick and Claudia arrive in the hospital where the cleaner in the underground is fighting for his life because he's poisoned by venom. So anomaly again! But James does not want to close the underground because he thinks it's a hunch. But they tell him to shut up, close it. So now the entire home office team gets sent to the underground. Many soldiers go in and they suit up to look for the anomaly. They find a small crevice and walk in.
Keep it really tight, lads.
And while looking around in this old room, I guess, they see one of the insects and don't do anything. And then they look up. Everyone is getting attacked by the bugs. Side note, why do they love using the fucking Wilhelm screen so much? I think I might tally like how many times they use it because like they use it too much. Anyways, they all move out for medical attention, which lets Nick theorize this is from a different era in the past, but he doesn't know what creature is in it because he wasn't there. So they send him in with the group while Connor is back at college. Sad. Abby is also coming with because reptile girl. And then they walk into the underground where they see that the insects are sensitive to lights.
Does anyone have a really big slipper?
Once they arrive in the room, they see all of the insects climbing around and Abby notices a hole in a fence where we hear the iconic sound of an anomaly.
What's happening to us?
And then the insects go back in. But then Abby notices something large moving behind the crates. And it's not a spider, it's a damn centipede, large as hell. And then it climbs and almost gets the jump on Steven. But the funny thing is how they shot this, because they used CGI for monsters and let me just play the clip. Yeah, they had to use a stick with a paper drawing of it just so the actors knew where to look. Anyways, Nick tells them to go, so he's left alone with the centipede, but he escapes and he starts to hear someone. It's Helen. The radio is shut off so the people above ground cannot contact him, so Steven goes to rescue Nick, but he is not allowed to leave. And Steven tells Claudia they should go get Connor because he actually does something, Nick. And then Steven goes and runs into the underground. Meanwhile, Nick is roaming around trying to find Helen, but he can't find her. And Steven, meanwhile, manages to find something he can use to defend himself. He searches and searches until he finds the door where Nick left through. But then he almost gets attacked by the centipede, but he burns it. And then his little flamethrower gets thrown through the anomaly. So now 2 of the most fucking important members have gone missing. So Claudia tells soldiers to go. Oh, and Connor arrives. But then someone else arrives to help Steven. and it's none other than Helen Cutter. Nick finds Steven and tries to help him, and Steven tells him that he saw Helen and she gave him a message.
This message. She's waiting on the other side of the anomaly. She said if you want to know the truth, you gotta come and find her.
Connor identifies the creature, which is an Orthoplura. Steven gets brought back to the top and he is dying of poison, and Nick does not tell Claudia about Steven seeing Helen. Steven then asked Abby on a date, so I guess he's bi. They then arrive at a hospital where they need a sample to create an anti-venom, and every insect is being returned to the anomaly because of the lights, and Nick gets an idea on how to get the anti-venom. So Nick walks in and looks for the centipede, and they look everywhere but they can't find it. And then Connor remembers, oh yeah, they burrow through floors. So everyone starts looking for holes, and Connor finds it and wants to enter the hole.
But if I don't come back, you can have my Star Trek Next Generation top trumps.
I'll treasure them.
And then they arrive at the end of the hole, and then they see it. And it immediately tries to bite Nick, but he pulls out nah, and then they kill the centipede. And by day, I meet Connor, and that's why he's the goat! The goat! And then Steven gets saved because of the anti-venom, and everything is well again. And then Claudia writes to Steven and asks him about Helen, but he's like, what? No, definitely not. I forgot everything that I said. And then Abby is like, wait, you don't want to invite me to dinner? So she said. Meanwhile, Nick is still there at the underground with Connor, looking at the anomaly, and Connor asks an important question, if he is still a part of the team. And he is! And so episode 2 ends with Nick asking the anomaly where Helen is. But the anomalies can't talk. I wonder what happens in this episode. So this episode begins at an indoor pool, where for some reason these two are the only ones there. That they like fucking sneak in. And this guy tries to do a front flip off a dining board and gets eaten. I remember this scene and I was scared. I remember being so fucking scared when I was at pools. I was like, what if this happened to me? Meanwhile, at the home office, everyone is in a meeting where Connor is showing off that the anomaly is still strong. Nick, like always, hypothesizes that the anomalies don't disappear but more likely fade out than reappear at the same space. He also theorizes that maybe every monster that people supposedly saw, like Loch Ness Monster, could have been a creature that came from an anomaly. Then Nick tries to go on some main character speech, but James is like, hey, shut the fuck up. Anyway, so Connor and Steven are in the hospital and both question their mortality. And who gets Steven's iPod? Oh, and Steven tells Abby he has a girlfriend. Haha, he doesn't like you. Anyways, the police think that the girl killed her boyfriend, and Nick almost destroys the entire secrecy of home office, but thankfully the idea of portals are too impossible, so they don't mind anything. But they can't really do anything to prevent the girl from going to jail. Anyways, thank God it only showed up in a pool. Imagine what would happen if it was in a public reservoir. Oh, for fuck's sake. James thinks that it is impossible for anomalies to exist in the water, but Nick is like, what if they move around in our dimension and time? But in the past, it stays fixed. Anyways, Connor finds the anomaly. How? Well, the water is flowing into the anomaly, and they go and scuba down. But Connor and Abby are above, looking around, and Connor notices something moving towards them. It's moving around them, but then it disappears, so they rush to the shoreline.
Okay.
And then he fucks off to the anomaly and then it closes. Oh yeah, and they lost the diver, but who cares? Meanwhile, at the home office, Nick continues on with his theories.
Are time's equivalent of an earthquake, strong enough to rip apart the boundaries between dimensions. My guess is that the fault line ruptured at the swimming pool, then ran to the reservoir. It could crash its way through into our time again, anywhere along this line.
Earthquakes, temporal fault lines. We're trying a little bit too hard, people. It's random chance, that's all. There's no connection with any of it.
Now we go to a little house in a quaint neighborhood. We're downstairs in the basement. Water starts to run out of nowhere, and now it's flooded. and there's something in the water. And let's go back to the fucking university. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys the name of these characters. That's Tom, that's Duncan. Okay?
Oh, what's the rush? It's DVD night. Battlefield Earth, director's commentaries. Your turn to get the pizza. Right.
So Steven is also back in the office and is getting reminders of what happened while he was seizing. And he also asks Nick why the hell he doesn't want anyone to know.
She left you to die on your own.
Yeah, maybe she thought help was coming.
Maybe she didn't care.
Hey, let's go back to the house. Sure hope nothing bad happens. Well, that's a strange statue of a bird over there. And Nick was right about the fault line theory. Oh, and the corpse of the scuba diver appears and he has something tied on his wrist with an initial. Nick gets given the handkerchief and is like, Helen is alive, I gotta go to the anomaly. And Claudia is pissed at him because he lied. And Steven is like, maybe I should stop saying he lost my memory. And he apologizes to Abby, but she doesn't give a fuck about him anymore. And then James Lester fucking arrives and is like, the woman is still alive.
She's still alive? How did I miss that?
It's a long story.
So 8 years she's been living in the past? My God. Are we going to explain Celebrity Love Island to her?
Shut up.
Oh, Connor, never change. So James tells them to go and find her in the anomaly. And by them I mean Nick. Which could be dangerous, but hey, then he doesn't have to talk with Nick anymore, so fuck him! Nick being the Chad that he is, he's like, send me alone, boys! So they do, and he goes through the anomaly, where he sees Hesperornis, and then he comes onto a shoreline, where he starts looking for Helen by shouting her name. He then climbs up a mountain, where Hesperornises are looking at him very pissed, and then he sees her. Hey woman, kids are washing this!
Hello, Nick! I see you got my message!
So they talk with each other.
You let me think you were dead.
I am dead as the person you knew. My old life ended 8 years ago. Now you can turn around. I'm decent.
Talk. Why didn't you come back?
What are you really upset about, Nick? That I stayed away? Or that I didn't tell you what I was doing?
I'm not upset, Helen. I just don't know who you are anymore.
Helen basically is like, yeah, fuck you, bro. You would have let everyone know about this rather than leave it be. And he asks her what she wants. Now back at the house, Home Office decides to send more people to the anomaly. Nick still doesn't want to go with Helen. He wants her to go with him, but she's like, nah. And so Nick goes to the anomaly, but a damn mosasaur sees him. Nick quickly swims and shoots it, but it's still chasing after him and it destroys his oxygen line. And right before it bites him and kills him, it gets killed by another mosasaur. And back at the home, Steven starts pulling the rope they had around him and bring him back, but he isn't breathing. So Claudia gives him mouth to mouth and he wakes up. And rather than asking, hey, are you okay? She asks him if Helen was there. And he's like, yeah, she's there. So Claudia gives a go-ahead for the soldiers to go and find her. And now everyone is being held at gunpoint by the soldiers because Helen has finally been returned back to modern times. And so episode 3 comes to an end. The episode begins with blurry chaos and then shows a couple of kids playing the old footy, hey, we love football, where a woman tells them to stop. Meanwhile, her son is taking a bath in the bathroom. And then the toilet starts to move by itself. Helen is in the Home Office security wing, being interrogated by James and Claudia. James, being the politician, is like, listen, we will let you go, but tell us everything. And she tells him to go fuck himself. So Home Office gets sent to the apartment where that kid was. And Steven shows his skills, just to find out it was a fucking snake. Not even an anomaly, not even some ancient species, just a snake. Now, Helen told Nick that she knows when an anomaly will happen, so Home Office really needs this info to prevent false alarms. But Helen still does not give a fuck, she just wants Nick. Meanwhile, Steven admits that he has a fear of snakes, which is... you are telling me you had no fear when a fucking Gorgonopsid almost killed you, but a fucking snake makes your knees quake. Like, what the hell? Connor then asks Abby, hey, what if I lived in your apartment for a few days? Joking, and does. And then she leaves for tea. Oh, British mate, well, British mate. Meanwhile, Helen is like, Nick, please let me go free. And he's probably thinking, maybe I should have, divorced her when she was alive.
They're listening to every word, aren't they?
Oh, I don't know, probably.
I need you to get me out of here, Nick.
Well then, tell me what you know. Tell me where the anomalies are. Tell me why they're happening. Then maybe I can help you.
Right now, why is the least of your worries?
You see, what does that mean?
You want me to help? All right, I'll help. Unless you act within the next few hours, the pride of saber-toothed killers will be rampaging through central London.
Anyways, Connor arrives at Abby's apartment with his mates Tom and Duncan, bringing him there. And Tom gives him a cool keyring. And then when he gets out of the van, they both just sit there and are like, and now we wait. Because Connor, you fool, it's a tracker! Anyways, where's Rex? We need more Rex footage. More Rex, please. And Connor asks Abby for a kiss and tells her he will give her 20 quid because he wants to pretend that he has a girlfriend. That explains why he looks like a redditor. Tom and Duncan are shocked to see a woman who kisses Connor, but then they go back to being spies, where they see Steven and assume he's the real boyfriend, and they are like, rest in peace, Connor. We're gonna bury him. Now, the real reason why he's here is because Helen has decided to start talking.
Smilodon. Its literal meaning is knife tooth. They're up to 3 meters long. They have saber teeth. They hunt in packs. They're ruthless predators. Now, according to Helen, a large pride has established its territory near an anomaly, and it's only a matter of time before they find their way through.
London's a big place. Where exactly is this going to happen?
Well, that's your problem. She won't tell us. She wants to take us there herself.
It's a trick.
I agree.
So they go off to the location, which is a football field. They go in the kitchen where they see a locked refrigerator. So Connor checks it out, but there is no magnetic field. So they have to open the door because it may be too thick for the magnetic field to show up. So now Steven opens the door and they find an anomaly. She was not lying. And it starts to pull all of the metal kitchenware. And then Tom and Duncan arrive. And then they start removing pastries from the fridge to not bait the saber-toothed monsters to attack. And then Helen goes through the anomaly. So Steven and some soldiers go after her. And they arrive at a strange location. Anomalies are everywhere. It's like a fucking train station, multiple sections where you can go. And she lied, there are no cats. But then they hear something. Something is in the anomaly. And what comes out? A bunch of dodos! And now they have to catch the damn dodos! And one of the damn dodos eats the keyring and then just fucks off to the exit. So they catch most of them, and Tim and Duncan see the other dodo that ate the keyring. And what does Duncan say?
I turned Connor into a turkey.
So they steal the dodo and think that Connor is a part of a cloning operation, so they drive off. And the other dodos get sent away. But one of the dodos has died, so they plan an autopsy. Okay, so why the fuck does everyone have a great looking apartment? So, let me stop with the fucking glazing of the show. Why the hell does Tom and Duncan have such a good looking apartment? Aren't they university students? And they mentioned they have fucking student loans.
Our student loans are a thing of the past, man.
So how did they afford a fucking gumball machine and a fucking computer set with like 5 monitors? Where did they get this money? Anyways, okay, I can't act normal. They have a fucking tiki bar. How? No wonder they fucking have student loans. They're terrible with money. How the who buys a tiki bar, places it in a... I think I'm crashing out. I think I'm having a stroke. I think I'm blasting out. Let's go back to the home office because I can't take it anymore. So they begin their autopsy and it's muscle spasms. But that can't be, it's been dead for holy shit, that's a fucking tapeworm. Meanwhile, dodo number 2 at Duncan and Tom's flat is messing around with the remote. And then it just gets pissed for no reason and breaks the damn TV. And for some reason it gets fucking blue eyes. And then it fucking bites Tom. Meanwhile, at the autopsy room, they figure out that it's a parasite. Oh yeah, James is also here. And now Tom is convulsing, and to whichever person who fucking animated his skin changing, raise. And then Dodo starts to attack the light, and then Duncan. Tom starts to convulse some more, and then fucking tries to bite Duncan. And Duncan just runs away. That is because Tom is infected. Duncan goes to Connor, and Connor is obviously furious, so he calls home office to report what happened.
You the idiot that stole the dodo?
There's no law against catching extinct animals.
You stole government property. That makes it treason.
That was a joke. Right?
They look for Tom, but he's gone. Wait, why do they have a fucking... Where do they get this money? And they see that Dodo is dead. So now there is a manhunt for Tom. Meanwhile, Tom is at the hospital looking like the fucking Unabomber. And he is having such bad reactions to light and is majorly paranoid. He's puking at blood and this shot, no. This shot, I hate this shot. I hate this shot, it's too good. James is pissed because Helen technically caused this pandemic. We don't talk about it. Nick tries to defend Helen, saying, come on, man, it was an accident. She wouldn't do that, man. James is like, okay, now go and find Tom. He's currently having an MRI and the doctor tells him he needs surgery. And then he bites the doctor. And he quickly hides in the bathroom stall. And he quickly calls Duncan and tells him, publish everything. Publish everything. But then he hears that Connor is on the line. And he's so paranoid, he's like, no, don't talk with me. I'm nowhere, you can't find me. So he looks at the tracker to find the dodo as evidence. Meanwhile, he runs out of the bathroom when the others arrive. And so they arrive to the doctor and he's fucking spasming. They then leave him at the hospital and we never learned if the doctor gets help or not. Personally, my headcanon is that he was executed. So Abby, meanwhile, is at Nick's office with the dodo corpse and someone else is there. It's Tom! And he's just going mental. And let me give props to the actor Jake Curran. He's very good at acting paranoid. Let me play the scene.
So what's really going on with these things, huh?
Tell me!
I don't feel very well, okay?
Tom, just take it easy, yeah?
Wait, whoa. Don't come near me because I don't want to hurt you, see, and I will. It's not my fault.
Nick then interviews Duncan and Duncan admits he put a tracker on Connor, but the dodo is now at Abby's location, so Steven quickly runs there. Tom is meanwhile pondering if he is going to die, and he does not trust Abby and he attacks her. But she's like, wait mate, I will give you the truth. Follow me to the football stadium. So they arrive there and let Tom walk into the location where they found the dodo's anomaly. But it's not there, it's closed. So he's like, yo, this is a trap. And then they begin to fight and Abby is just so good at fighting. Let me give props to the actress. Pretty good. He then catches up to her, and the rest of Home Office arrives there, and they are ready to fire, but Connor stops them.
Please don't shoot
Connor,
him!
get out the way!
Alright, I'm trying.
Tom, it's me. Let her go, mate. Easy. You remember Thursday nights? Don't you? Battlestar Galactica. Blake 7. Pepperoni pizza.
Connor?
Yeah. They're good times. Weren't they? You can fight the dark side, mate. You really can.
You two, Connor, move away. He will kill you.
No, he won't. He's my friend. You come with me. We can help you. It was a conspiracy, wasn't it, Con? Big time. Right to the top. Was it any mind control? Yeah. Brilliant.
Connor, back away!
Connor! No!
It's okay. You're okay.
They tried to take me over, but I fought them, Con. I fought them. You did a really good job. I'm a hero.
So Tom dies, being held by one of his best mates. Sorry, Duncan. And Connor wants to quit Home Office, but Nick convinces him.
There's a handful of people in the whole world that know what's going on here, what we're grappling with, and you're one of them. That would have made his day. He'd have loved it. So you can't bail out now. Okay? Okay. Now come here.
The episode begins at a golf course where this fucking dumbass cannot play golf, and then he hits it to the pond. He then goes to the pond and picks up the golf ball, and we see something else in there. Meanwhile, Connor and Abby are still sharing an apartment, and Connor makes Abby breakfast and then goes away to play Oblivion. Anyways, Rex is still here. We love Rex. At the golf course, the guy who lost his ball is in a golf cart and annoys the other guy. He then somehow cuts himself with a leaf, and then he notices something in the sky. Let's go back to Oblivion. Let's repress our greed. Oh, fuck. Anyways, we learned that it's been a month since the last episode. Home Office arrives at the golf course, and Claudia reports to Nick that James is getting impatient because anomalies are still happening.
I've been maintenance love shack, number one stud speaking.
Right, I'll tell you what, you fat little cunt.
Oh, no, it's Connor, Professor.
Connor, we love you. Oh, and Connor forgot to fucking close the window. Now Rex is gonna come with him. Steven looks around and yet they cannot find the anomaly. And Nick notices it's very quiet, no birds. And then they look up and see it. And then they see a fucking pterodactyl. I don't know how I messed that up, but I mean it's a pterodon. It's a pterodon. That's what it is. Connor then drives in, but he still hasn't noticed Rex. But then he does, and he tries to tell Rex to get back in the car, but he obviously doesn't. So Connor chases after him and threatens to make him be the first species that went extinct twice. Which... The Pelian ibex was the first animal to go extinct twice. You dumbass. I love you, Connor. So the group see him, but the pterodon is also looking at him, so he runs with Rex. And they almost shoot the pterodon, but Nick is like, no, we don't shoot animals. And thankfully that was a good decision because Rex and Connor survive. And then Abby snitches on herself accidentally, and now everyone knows that Rex was kept. And now they have to find the pterodon. And like a fucking little kid, Abby is like,
can we keep Rex? Can we keep him?
Anyways, they start looking for the pterodon and they see it at the top of an office building, while Abby and Connor look for Rex. So Steven and Nick and Claudia arrive at the office and go to the top, where Steven pulls out a tranquilizer rifle and they don't hit it. But then Nick gets an idea and asks for Claudia's shirt, but Steven is like, nah, you can take mine. Meanwhile, the rest of the grunts arrive.
The wind took it.
Yep, try again.
Was that a fucking Half-Life 2 shotgun reload sound? Am I that autistic? And so Steven finally shoots it and it almost hits Claudia.
See that?
No need to shout. What are we gonna do with it?
Take it back to the anomaly site, send it back.
That is it, Cutter. No more favors. From now on, we do this my way. I take the decisions.
What? Shit. How's Rex doing?
Yay, they found him!
Meanwhile, Claudia is in a makeshift hospital bed that is giving her oxygen. She then fucking destroys her own blood and Nick calms her down and flirts a bit with her. But then she realizes something.
I can't see anything.
She blind. Anyways, good that they found Rex. We love Rex. This shot is so horrifying. Good jump scare. These creatures remind me of have any of you seen the movie The Silence? They remind me of the Vesps. But in reality, they are yeah, I'm calling the fucking speech bot.
Anurognathus.
Oh, and Stephen tries out Pterodon dung. Yay. Nick and Claudia do kind of flirt with each other, but then Stephen calls Nick to tell him he was right. It could not have been the Pterodon. Huh? I wonder what else it could be. Because Nick thought that the Pterodon killed the golf player. Yeah, it wasn't the Pterodon, it was the
Anurognathus.
It's always the
Anurognathus.
And then we cut to the ambulance where the guy gets killed by the
Anurognathus.
Nick closes the window just to be safe, but then somehow the front door is open and he quickly closes it. This shot is so flipping good. I love little flying critters. I love them. And Nick leaves Claudia alone, which is something she did not want. She asked him to stay. Good. Scene. Nick realizes that they can smell blood. And then break the ceiling window. Why do you even need a window there? I do not understand rich people. And Nick is still looking for a phone, but then he kisses Claudia. Yay, I love love. But you know what else I love? I love the
Anurognathus.
Attacking Nick Cutler. And Nick finally finds a phone in the ambulance and calls Tom Ryan. That's the guy, that was the guy with Nick in the first anomaly, you know. And then Nick goes full Giga Chat mode and fucking starts to construct a weapon. This episode didn't give me nightmares. Nick then slowly gets out of the ambulance because all of them decided to go away. And now Claudia is alone, stuck in a room with one of them. But she has a golf stick and then she punts him across the room. But then more arrive. And then Nick prepares the weapon he constructed. A flamethrower. So Nick begins to burn every single one of them. Meanwhile Claudia is still somehow surviving. And then someone else appears.
Dad! Helen Cutter. Helen, what the hell are you doing here?
You really want to discuss that right now?
Helen Cutter! Helen then protects Claudia, and then Helen begins her plan. She turns up every gas stove, throws metal into a microwave, and then opens the damn door. And then Claudia quickly escapes. And then... voila! All of them are dead. But Nick thinks Claudia has died. But then she comes home. No, not like that. Oh yeah, Connor and Abby are still here. And Connor apologizes to Abby and tells her he will move out. But she has a better idea.
Okay, here's the deal. You do all the washing up for a month and make me breakfast every weekend. And if you leave your dirty boxer shorts on the bathroom floor one more time, I shall kill you.
Does that mean I can stay?
For now, yes.
Oh, thank you!
Yay, happy ending! So they arrive back at the anomaly and Lester James tries to call Claudia, but she leaves him at the voicemail. So they start waving the red flag as the Pterodon wakes up. And then it goes back to the anomaly where it belongs. And so episode 5 ends. And now let us begin with, in my opinion, the best episode ever in television history, or at least British television history. An episode so creative with one of the best creatures in fiction, an episode that made me want to talk about this series, an episode that has impacted me a lot. The finale of season 1. Let me introduce the episode begins at Nick's office where he is playing golf. Claudia is also there. They talk about Helen and Claudia asks him if he still loves her. Claudia tells him she hasn't been sleeping well and then threatens him with arresting him for sexual harassment for kissing her without her consent. Yup, this episode ends with Cutter being arrested. And then we cut to the original anomaly site where it all began in the Forest of Dean. A soldier sees that it is active again and then sees that one of the gates has been bent. Steven and Nick can't find anything, so they just think it went back into the anomaly. Meanwhile, at the Wellington Zoo... Okay, let me just play the full scene. Yup, that is what we are dealing with. The sound it makes, it's just, I love this episode. Meanwhile, Connor tests his dating skills with Abby. He sucks at first, but then he starts getting good.
I've seen you here before, haven't I?
Oh, that's good.
Oh, look, your glass is empty. Let me get you another one.
Oh, I'll have a mojito, please.
2 mojitos coming up. Barman. Who do you think would win in a fight between Wolverine and Spider-Man?
I said flirty, not nerdy.
That's entry-level comic book, Abby. It's light, it's fun.
But girls don't talk comic books.
Well, maybe they do, but you're just boring. Boring! And then the zoo calls Abby. Meanwhile, Claudia is talking to James, and James hopes that Nick can figure out when an anomaly opens. Then we cut to Steven, and someone is following him. I wonder who could... It's Helen! It's always Helen! Connor and Abby arrive at the zoo, and both lions are gone. Connor finds some blood on a leaf and collects a blood sample just to see what it is. So Steven and Helen are in the cafeteria, and she gives Steven a note with a location where she wants to meet Nick and James, because what came out of the anomaly is something very, very serious.
It's good to see you again, Stephen. You know, you were always one of my better students. Not the very brightest, maybe, but so full of idealism and integrity. I miss that.
Yeah, so Helen also cheated on Nick with Steven. No, you were supposed to be a goat. You were supposed to be the goat. Meanwhile, Claudia is at home office where seemingly she is alone. And then she hears something. Oh yeah, Golden Opposite in the office. Turns out it was all a dream. Hey, wait a minute. Turns out it was all a dream. Hey, wait a minute. Meanwhile, Abby is throwing food around, but something is watching her. Then the zoo director gets a phone call and then it appears.
No sign of a lion as yet. We're still hopeful, obviously. Yes.
Meanwhile at home office, Connor tells Abby that the blood sample was mostly lion's blood and a bit of bat's blood. And the DNA of the bat wasn't normal, it was something never seen before. Abby then gets a message that her boss is missing. While the others, that being James, Nick, Claudia and Steven, decide, yeah, maybe we should meet up with her. So they arrive at the location.
You have a serious creature incursion. A highly evolved ambush predator. Intelligent, adaptable, and ruthless.
If there was a creature on the loose, we'd know about it.
At least 3 people have disappeared in the last few days.
Missing?
Killed. The creature has a lair somewhere nearby. It's taken them for food.
Now, how do you know that?
Because it nearly got me too.
What is it?
Has no name.
Then which year is it from?
It doesn't come from any era. At least not one that can be identified yet.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Yes, you do, Nick. You knew it had to happen one day. You've known it ever since you first stepped into the past.
The future. Are you saying we're being attacked by a creature from the future?
That's right. It's a creature from the future. A highly evolved creature from the goddamn future.
Our logic was, if anomalies go into the past, why shouldn't they come from the future too? So we created this character, this predator, or what we call the future predator.
Abby is still at the zoo, and this future predator is also there, slowly hunting her.
It has human levels of intelligence and enormous supernatural ability to stalk its prey. It could be right here now watching us, we'd never know.
You know, I'm really beginning to regret not staying in management consultancy.
Aren't we all, James? Aren't we all? So we cut to Helen's house, and it turns out that the predator may have been led by Helen out of the anomaly. So you did this, woman! You caused 3 people to die! Meanwhile, Stephen and Connor are in Nick's office, and Connor mentions the blood that he found, with the terrible DNA. So Stephen goes and quickly rushes to the zoo. Abby is now in the aquarium section, looking at the sea lions, and then Stephen arrives. But while talking, he notices something. Okay, so the design of the future predator is one of my favorite designs in all of fiction. The head shape especially. Darren Horley here explains the creation of this design.
The brief was, it ran on 4 limbs, but it had the ability to stop and rear up and free up its front limbs, a bit like a gorilla basically. It had to be unusual and quite sinister without looking too fantasy, without completely science fiction, otherworldly look. You recognise what something's thinking through their eyes usually, and when there's no eyes to look at, you don't know what it's thinking, which makes it all the more strange. These 2 images on the right were the initial design. Because the verbal brief was so specific, we almost hit the nail on the head straight away in that the general body form was right. But what Tim wasn't quite happy with is the head. So it went from a quite classic dinosaur head to a really quite unusual, slightly human, slightly skull-like, and therefore quite scary, more unusual looking head.
Also, I learned while watching the season 1 documentary that because this was 2007, they made a clay model of it that got laser scanned because digital sculpting wasn't advanced enough at the time. But anyways, I need the clay model, I want the clay model. I will sell my soul for the clay model of the future predator. I need it. Anyways, at the zoo, Helen annoys Claudia some more, but Claudia is like, yo, why did you save me?
You're his type, Claudia. Strong, independent, reasonably intelligent.
Oh, love try. So Nick and Tom Ryan are walking to where they suspect the lair is. Nick tells Tom that the creature has to be killed, which surprises Tom since last episode he stopped him from shooting the pterodon. But I mean, if the future predator did wipe out humanity, there's only one way we must act with it. They arrive at the forest with dogs, which I hope is a good idea, because I hope loud noises don't attract. As a kid I thought the future predator could go invisible, but no, it is that fast. So Nick and the rest regroup, and Helen is also there eating an apple, maybe referencing the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge, showing off that Helen has now gotten knowledge of what anomalies are. She has gotten forbidden knowledge which has caused the future predator to come after her, committing a sin, that being the extinction of mankind. Or she likes apples. I mean, could be possible. While they are mucking about, Connor, the genius he is, gets an idea.
That's it. That's it. This thing must be some kind of, I don't know, super bat.
He's right. 3/4 of all mammal species are bats or rats. Maybe the future belongs to them.
We can use its own weapon against it.
An oscilloscope.
It's in the car. Go get it.
So Connor immediately runs off to find an oscilloscope. An oscilloscope is a type of electronic test instrument which would allow observation of constantly varying signal voltages. It could also display non-electrical signals such as sound and vibrations by conversion to voltages. And he is so happy that he can finally do something really helpful. So he goes to the car to bring it to the rest of the group, and he turns it on to test if it works. So somehow Abby hears all of this commotion and she runs to Connor's defense, just for Steven to appear out of nowhere to shoot the fucking beast, and then it goes back to the woods. Nick is like, you should go home since this is very dangerous, but Connor says, well, I'm Han Solo. So they have the dogs looking out for it, and Connor's oscilloscope is proving very handy. So they walk into this old shed and they hear something.
Cutter! You need to see this.
My God, it's given birth.
The future predator has reproduced, which is dangerous. Wait, what's that mean?
We've got company! Where the hell is it? Steven!
So Nick gets a bright idea and steals its kid, and this scene is just so funny. He just grabs it. He just decides, yeah, I'm taking this. But now Nick is cornered, but he has an idea. I swear their budget ran out because of the future predator. They had to use fucking green screen glass break video. But now it's dead! Hooray! So Home Office collects all the babies off to be killed, but Helen tries to stop it.
And what do you suggest? A sympathetic foster family?
A dangerous anomaly to the future is open in the Permian. Predators could come pouring through.
But why do we keep these animals alive?
To pinpoint the exact location of the anomaly. All bats have extraordinary homing instincts. They'll know their own environment. They can lead us to it.
And what happens to them then?
We kill them.
So Claudia comes out of a bathroom stall and she sees something. She's an anomaly! Yeah, she has gotten more nightmares and hallucinations. Meanwhile, Helen is at her old house with Nick, and she wants him. But he's found someone new, bitch! So Home Office is preparing themselves to enter the original anomaly.
I don't make it back. Push Lester through the worst anomaly you can find. It's a given.
Claudia is obviously worried for Nick and she wants him to stay because she has a bad feeling. But it's done. They have to do this. So Claudia kisses Nick and Helen has the funniest reaction. And so they go in. Nick and the rest of them walk around in the Permian era. And Helen is like, bro, why did you kiss her? But shut up! Connor is getting some news.
Okay, I understand, thanks.
The lab?
Yeah. The creature's autopsy proves beyond any doubt that it was definitely a male.
It's got to be female. It was nurturing its young.
Maybe in this species that's a job for the boys.
Yep, what they killed was the male. Because if that's the case, where is the female? Yep, it's another anomaly. Meanwhile, Helen is taking some pictures and asks Nick if he can take some pictures for her as a little souvenir. But while taking them, he realizes something.
What?
The camp. It's the camp we found the first time. We made it. It's us. We are the intruders.
Camp we found was old. There was a dead body.
Don't you see, we've arrived back years before the first time we came here.
We've created our own past.
And then the baby starts screeching, signaling that the anomaly may be near, and Helen's real reason for wanting the babies alive gets shown. She didn't care about helping mankind, she just wanted to go to the future. So they walk closer, and then... Now the future predator is here for its kids, now it's even more aggressive. So Tom Ryan shoots the beast and gets brutally attacked, and then it sees Nick. That's right, the fucking Gorgonopsis is back from episode. Yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. Just watch the scene. To the fucking animators, like holy, I love this scene so much. It's ingrained in my memory. I swear I could have dementia and this scene would still be in my brain. Nick quickly runs to Tom and with his last dying breaths he asks him,
That body we found, that was me, wasn't it? I was looking at myself.
Thankfully all of the offspring were killed by the Gorgonopsid and Nick decides that they will go back, but before that he buries them. Helen still tries to convince him to go into the future with him.
Future anomaly must be here somewhere. We can still find it.
In the future, Helen Cutter's last great frontier. No, if you want to stay here and look for it, it's fine. It's fine. But you're going to have to do it on your own, because I'm leaving.
What have you got to go back for? That girl? Please don't tell me you're in love with her.
Well, maybe. Maybe. That's not really the point.
And what is the point, Professor?
Point is, I know where I belong.
And so, Nick goes back to the anomaly, but they may have forgotten something. Nick comes back to the modern times and tells them the bad news, and Helen is like, yep, I'm also going away because I have some unfinished business.
You see, Nick, it was just one of those things. I was lonely and you didn't seem to care about me. Stephen was so sweet and...
She cheated on him. That woman cheated, but Stephen, you're supposed to be the goat.
An extremely awkward moment.
I agree, Mr. James Lester, I agree. Why am I agreeing with him? But then she tries to convince Stephen to go with her to the future. But he doesn't, and he calls her a bitch!
Can be a real bitch.
So she goes away. So now Nick is sad because he was lied to, but then he asks something.
Where's Claudia?
Claudia?
Where's Claudia Brown?
I don't know anyone of that name.
No, come on, where is she?
We don't know what you're talking about.
Never heard of her. Look, you've been working with her every day for months, so don't tell me you don't know who she is.
No idea. So sorry.
Look, where is she?
Cutter, we don't know her.
No one knows her.
Wait, something's wrong.
Then he realizes he changed something in the past that made her disappear. And season 1 ends. Season 1 was a great introduction for the series and gives us some questions that leaves us wanting more. What happened to Claudia? What happens in the future? Did Helen ever find the future? What other future animals could be out there? And just like that, I'm also going to do that. You're cliffhanger. The season 2 script is being worked on because I wanted to originally make this one long video, but like, I personally, mentally, I cannot do it. Like, it's too much work, and I don't know if people want this. So this is gonna be the first video probably in a series where I'm gonna talk about maybe every season if you guys want that. Because personally, I just like season 1 and 2 up to 3. I hate season 4 and 5. I hate the spin-offs. So I mean, if you guys want that, comment down below. But I'm gonna go now. I have to write some more. Oh, also I have a Patreon now. You don't have to give money. I just made it for game dev. I make games also, by the way. Yeah. Hey, it's me, CookieBot, and I'm finished with editing this video. I'm never gonna make long form videos again, bro, I swear. I'm gonna make like YouTube shorts stuff, I swear.